Welcome back. My name is Malik, and today I will be creating a Avalanche DeFi platform and walk you through the steps on how to build one. Avalanche is one of the biggest networks in the crypto space, and it makes sense to develop and build decentralized applications on it. They have a great community, they have a massive developer space, and they are growing at a very rapid pace. They're cheap, they're fast, and they are very secure. They have a fascinating story that you should actually really dive into. And this is a way for you to quickly get yourself started and dive into the Avalanche network. Before beginning, let me just show you how this DeFi platform will look like. This platform is built on the Avalanche network, so everything that you see here is done on the network itself. We have a wallet component over here where we can see all the tokens that we own for this particular address, and we can also do a transfer function right over here. We have a balances component over here where we can list down all the balances. We have a transfer list, all the transactions that ever occurred for all the ERC20 tokens. Then we have NFT balance. Here we can see a list of all the NFTs that you own. For some reason, this particular NFT does not have the image stored in the metadata, so it just does not show up. Otherwise, all the popular NFTs just show up over here. We also have a contract component. Now this is an interesting component where we load all the methods that a contract has based on its ABI and its contract address. And as you can see, this has rendered dynamically, and this is pretty cool to have. This also took just around 10 to 15 minutes, so you should be able to do the same as well. Another cool thing is the dark mode that we have here. The colors look really sick, to be honest, and I'll show you how we did that. Now let me just walk you through how I did this. For beginners, I just went out to the Ethereum boilerplate code over here. Make sure to start it when you use it. You can fork this code over here and create all sorts of components. As you can see, this is what I did, and I've done this for Avalanche and created an entire DeFi platform. You can have all sorts of components like address input, different chains, coin price, ERC20 balance, transfers, DEX, wallet, blockchain native balance, and a contract itself. And also we have Ethereum hooks for various functions. So this is just a plug and play sort of scenario over here, which would be extremely easy for you to build applications. Let's just go ahead and fork this and see how it's done. You can fork it like this, and you have a forked version of the boilerplate. You can download the code. Now let's use this repository and clone it in our local machine. There you go. All right, we have our code over here. All we have to do is first npm or yarn, and this will download all the node modules that are required on running this application, this boilerplate. So let that happen. All right, all the node modules have been downloaded. Now let's just run the application and see what we have here. Oops, I have another one running here, so let me just close that out. Okay, now let it run. All right, as you can see, we have a list of instructions over here. As soon as you download the boilerplate, you have to sign up for Moralis for a free account so that you can handle all these transactions and have a free database and all these easy out of the box functions that we get. So I've already made that account, so I'll use that in my application over here. All we have to do is use this env file, rename it to env, and replace the app ID and the server URL with your specific details. Let me just do that now. All right, we have our Moralis dashboard over here. Click on the view details part. You will get all the details. You will have to copy the server URL, go to the application, paste it here, and then go to the application ID and paste it over here as well. And that's all you have to do. Save it and run the app again. The application started, and you can see all of these functionality right out the box. Since I'm on the Avalanche network, it shows that I'm on Avalanche. But just let's make it the default Avalanche version. And also let's prompt the user, if they're not on Avalanche, to shift to Avalanche as soon as they land on this decentralized application. And that's it. You have a basic boilerplate to work with. So let's start with the modifications. So let's go to the code and see what we can do here. Now, this is our boilerplate code. We have our source folder over here with all the components that we would require, as mentioned in the GitHub repository, and also all the hooks that we can use for a quick, easy plug and play solution. So let's go to the app.js, which will be our main component that is rendering the entire app. Over here, we can get rid of this quick start menu in the starting because we've already done that and we don't need it anymore for our Avalanche Dapp. So let's get that out. We don't need a 1-inch text here, and because 1-inch does not support Avalanche, and we want it to support Avalanche all throughout because it's such a cool network. So let's get that out of the place, and now we are pretty much sorted here. Let's save and get back to the app. We got rid of the quick start here. We have our wallet and a contract. Now let's change the logo. If you go all the way down, you will find a SVG file, which we will replace it. So I had the SVG of Avalanche logo with me. So I'm just copy pasting that over here. We keep the width as 80 and height as 50. Let's save that. Let's see. There we go. We have the Avalanche network logo. Now, if you can see over here, we have a list of all these networks. We don't need all these. We want Avalanche. We want it to be cheap. We want it to be fast. So let's just keep Avalanche over here. So let's go to the chains component that we have in the app.js. Let's go in. Here, the chains component has all these networks that we can configure. So let's remove all of it and just keep Avalanche here. There you go. And now it should just be Avalanche. Let's just remove the drop down as well. Down outlined. Let's remove this. Now we also want our users to switch to Avalanche as soon as they land on the website. Most of the time when people are using MetaMask, they are on the Ethereum network. That's good and all, but we want them to be on Avalanche. So let's write some code over here. Let's use the switch network function and say if there's no chain ID, then switch the network and add the Avalanche network here. And also, if the chain ID is not equal to Avalanche, then also please go ahead and switch the network. So in both scenarios, if suppose the user does not have the configuration in their MetaMask, we will prompt them to add the network configuration of Avalanche and then switch on to it as well. So that's pretty neat, to be honest. In just 2 lines of code, you're able to do that. So yeah, go ahead and do the same. All right, so let's save this and see what happens. Here we have the Avalanche network, and let's see if it works when you disconnect and reload. And let's see if you are prompted. Whoops, it lands on the quick start page before. So let's fix that. Okay, let's remove the first route. We don't need that. Okay, so the first page that you'll see is your wallet, and let's keep it that way. Now we have our Avalanche over here. So let's just go ahead and switch to another network, suppose Rinkeby, and then let's reload the page and see if we are prompted. So we are prompted. As soon as it detects that you are not on Avalanche, it says, well, you gotta add this network. And if I even delete this network from my configuration in MetaMask, it adds it for me. So that's pretty neat. And once I'm connected, I'm on Avalanche again. So that works. Moving on, we will now change this entire theme to the dark mode. Now this requires additional steps. I'll show you how to do that. So before we do that, let me just preface it by saying that these components over here uses Ant design UI elements. That means that we are using this UI component library, and we have certain ways to change the entire theme of the application by following some steps. So let's find that over here. The documentation. If you go to React, you can find all the information over here. Go to components, and you will see all the components that we use. Now we would like to change the theme. So you can customize the theme as required. Let's use it in Create React App because that's what this application is made of. So we scroll down and see we need a module called craco. So let's add this first. Let's go to our code and add this. While it loads, you have to change the package.json. So let's change the start function script over here. Let's go to package.json, go to the scripts and change the start with craco start. All right, save it. As you can see, the module has been downloaded, and then we have to create a craco.config.js file. Let's go and do that. Let's create a file over here. Let's keep this, and let's add this part of the code to the config. Now before adding this, you need a craco-less as well. So let's add that module to our node modules package. That's done. Also, it says that everywhere that we use the .css notation, you gotta change it to .less. So let's do that as well. Let's go to app.jsx. Let's go to style and let's name it .less. Save it. Go to style.css. Name this as less as well. We also have to add these two lines in the styles file and save it here. Now this lets you override the default values of Ant design and the UI components and cater to your needs. So you can find all the default values over here in the link that they have given. Theme, yeah, default variables. Over here you can see the list of all the CSS values that are defaulted, and you can change each and every one of them based on your needs. So we have done exactly that, and I'll show you what all I changed. We have to go to the craco.config, and we have to add all the variables that we would like to change in the modify variable object. So let's do that. Those are all the different modifications that I did in my application for it to perform as a dark mode component. So let's just save this and see if the application runs. Now once we make changes to this config file, we have to restart the entire application again because then it wouldn't work. So let's restart again. All right, we are almost there. We have to change other things as well. Let's go ahead and do that. All right, let's see what we need to change. Let's go to the app over here. Oh, okay, it's still .css. We need to change this to less. So we have to change the style.less and as well as the Ant design CSS properties to less as well. So let's go down and we can see that there's the header as white. Let's remove that. And also, let's put the layout, the entire application color as this over here. And also, we can say header theme is equal to dark. And also over here, and let's see what this will compile into. Oh, there you go. Well, the entire application is in the dark mode. As you can see, when I hover over it, it looks really cool with the green tint. So this gives you a feel of how easy and convenient the entire process of building an application on any decentralized network is. Now, because of this repository, you're able to do very advanced things on the network. A similar repository is going to come for React Native so that you can quickly, in just a few minutes, build applications on phone as well with just plug and play sort of components. So yeah, go ahead and start this repository, fork it, and create your own version. If you would like to have more features, you can even contribute to this boilerplate. You can do this on Avalanche. You can even provide other networks as well. That's about it from my side. Thank you for watching. Have a nice one.